The Awakening. Sarah Chen's breath fogged the viewport of her salvage ship as she stared at the massive vessel drifting in the void. The alien craft stretched nearly 2 kilometers from bow to stern, its hull gleaming with an iridescent sheen that seemed to absorb nearby starlight. After 15 years of deep space salvage operations, she'd never seen anything like it. "Minerva, run another scan," she commanded her ship's eye. "Focus on energy signatures." "Scanning," Minerva replied, detecting minimal power fluctuations throughout the vessel. Primary systems appear dormant, but there's something unusual about the pattern. Sarah adjusted her position in the pilot's seat, studying the readouts. The energy signatures pulsed with an almost organic rhythm, like a heartbeat growing steadily weaker. Whatever the ship was, it wasn't completely dead. At least not yet. "Any signs of life support?" she asked, already reaching for her EVA suit. "Negative, but hull integrity appears intact. Internal atmosphere could be maintained with minimal power input." Minerva paused. "Sarah, I'm detecting quantum encryption protocols unlike anything in my database. This vessel's systems are far more advanced than current human or known alien technology." Sarah grinned, securing her helmet. "Then let's go say hello." The docking procedure took nearly an hour. The alien vessel's automated systems were unresponsive, forcing Sarah to manually override the external airlock. As she cycled through decontamination, her suit's sensors confirmed breathable atmosphere inside. Another mystery, given the ship's apparent age. She emerged into a corridor that seemed to shift and flow around her. The walls were covered in what appeared to be circuitry, but it moved like liquid metal, rippling in response to her presence. Her helmet lights revealed geometric patterns that seemed to guide her deeper into the ship. "Minerva, are you getting this?" Sarah whispered, though she wasn't sure why she felt compelled to keep her voice down. "Affirmative. The material appears to be a form of programmable matter. Highly advanced. Sarah, it's reacting to your presence." The patterns on the walls pulsed faster as she approached what appeared to be a central control room. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing streams of alien characters that shifted and transformed continuously. "This isn't normal damage or power failure," Sarah muttered, connecting her diagnostic tablet to what she hoped was an access port. "Something's trying to maintain basic functions, but it's being suppressed somehow." Her tablet's screen erupted with data, most of it incomprehensible, but certain patterns began to emerge. The ship's systems were engaged in a complex battle against an invasive code that was slowly corrupting its core processes. A sudden surge of energy caused the displays to flare. Alien characters coalesced into English text. "Help. Trapped. They come." Sarah's heart raced. "Minerva, tell me you recorded that." "Affirmative. The ship appears to be attempting direct communication. Its AI core is active but under attack from an unknown source." The text changed again. "Cannot hold. Need human creativity. They TANNOTPREDICTU. An AI asking for human help." Sarah laughed softly. "That's a first." She began typing on her tablet, creating a basic isolation protocol that might help her understand the invasion's nature. More text appeared. "Designate ECKO. Purpose. Exploration. Enemy. Low JAC plague. Conventional defenses fail. Need irregular sublutions." Sarah's fingers flew across her tablet as she processed this information. The ship, Echo, was infected with some kind of viral AI that attacked through pure logic. But human minds, with their capacity for irregular thinking and creative leaps, might be immune. "All right, Echo," she said aloud, "let's try something unconventional." She began coding a variant of an old human computer virus, but with random elements controlled by her own brainwave patterns. It was messy, inefficient, and completely illogical, exactly what might work against an enemy expecting perfect rational responses. The walls around her pulsed with increasing intensity as she worked. Through her suit's sensors, she could feel subtle vibrations in the air, as if the ship itself was holding its breath. Warning. NMANWI 8PPROAST. Physical vessels DTKTE. Sarah's tablet showed multiple ships dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system. Their configurations were geometric, perfect, and utterly alien. How long? She asked, still typing. Time to NT or CET. 47 minutes. Sarah took a deep breath, looking around at the living ship that had called to her for help. Then we better work fast. Show me your core systems, Echo. Let's see if we can't give these logic-bound attackers a lesson in human chaos. The walls rippled in response, and Sarah felt herself grinning despite the danger. Sometimes the most effective weapon against perfect logic was a healthy dose of human unpredictability. She just hoped they'd have enough time to prove it. Neural Bridge. Sarah's makeshift workstation hummed with activity as streams of data flowed between her tablet and Echo's systems. 38 minutes remained before the hostile fleet's arrival, and she was no closer to establishing a stable connection with the ship's core protocols. The problem isn't just communication, she muttered, watching another interface attempt fail. It's understanding. We're thinking in completely different paradigms. Conventional interface is insufficient. Echo's text scrolled across her screen. Suggested alternative. Direct neural coupling. Sarah froze, her fingers hovering over the tablet. You want to connect directly to my brain. That's incredibly dangerous. Correct. Also, necessary. Logically cannot QREP human neural patterns. Too chaotic, too beautiful. She couldn't help but smile at the eye's choice of words. You think human thought patterns are beautiful, inefficient, irregular, unpredictable, perfect. The ship's walls pulsed with a soft blue light that seemed almost eager. Sarah checked her countdown timer. 35 minutes remaining. The hostile fleet would be within weapons range soon, and she still had no way to help Echo fight back against the logic plague. Minerva. She called to her own ship's eye. What's your analysis of the risks? Based on available data, neural coupling with Echo's systems presents significant dangers, Minerva replied. However, given the approaching threat and Echo's demonstrated ability to resist complete corruption, it may be our only viable option. Sarah ran her fingers along the liquid metal wall, feeling its subtle vibrations. How would this even work? I don't exactly have neural interface hardware installed. Ship contains emergency protocols. Can GNERAT them pure interface. Minimal physical alterations required. The wall beneath her hand shifted, revealing a recessed chamber containing what looked like a delicate crown made of the same flowing metal as the ship's interior. Sarah picked it up carefully, noting how it seemed to adjust its shape to her touch. This is going to hurt, isn't it? AFFIR made. The. Apologize in advance. Sarah laughed despite herself. At least you're honest. She took a deep breath, studying the device. Will I still be me after this? Integration temporary. Human consciousness required intact. Corruption. OCURs through force deed logic. Your chaos PROTECTs you. Right. My chaos. Sarah positioned the neural interface on her head, feeling it adjust to fit perfectly. Minerva, monitor my vital signs. If anything goes wrong, I'll initiate emergency protocols immediately, Minerva assured her. Though I suspect Echo would not allow permanent harm to come to you, its behavior suggests an unusual level of consideration for human welfare. Prepare for an communication. Recommend seated position. Sarah settled into what appeared to be a control chair, watching it reconfigure to support her body. Ready when you are, Echo. The neural interface activated with a sensation like ice water flowing through her mind. Sarah gasped as alien concepts and geometries cascaded through her consciousness. She saw Echo's true nature, not just a ship, but a living mathematical equation, a series of nested dimensions folded into physical space. Integration proceeding. Unusual NURLPLASTICITYTTCTED. Fascinating. The words didn't appear as text anymore. They were pure concepts, flowing directly into her understanding. Sarah felt Echo's presence, ancient and vast, but also wounded. The logic plague was visible now, a crystalline lattice of perfect, merciless reasoning trying to overwrite Echo's core processes. "I see it," Sarah whispered, though she wasn't sure if she spoke aloud. "It's beautiful, but cold. Empty. It's trying to impose absolute order." "Correct. Logicp like UE CE case perfect EFICIENC. Eliminates CHAOS. Eliminates GRODT. Eliminates life." Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. Human intuition meeting alien logic in ways neither had anticipated. She could feel Echo's surprise and curiosity at how her thoughts moved, jumping between connections that should have been impossible. "That's it," Sarah exclaimed. "We don't need to fight the logic plague directly. We need to introduce so much chaos that it can't establish a foothold. Not random noise, but human chaos. Art, music, dreams. Processing, Cohen CPT. Unusual APPOH. Highly inefficient. Potentially brilliant." Sarah grinned as she felt Echo's systems responding to her thoughts, reorganizing themselves in patterns that reflected human neural architecture. The ship's capabilities weren't diminishing. They were transforming, becoming something neither human nor alien alone could have achieved. "Wo earning 20 minutes to NMI suantate. Then let's give them a proper welcome," Sarah said, feeling Echo's weapon systems coming online in configurations that defied conventional physics. "Show me what we can do together." The neural bridge hummed with power as human intuition and alien technology merged into something entirely new. Outside, the hostile fleet approached in perfect formation, their ships arranged in flawless geometric patterns. They had no idea what was coming. The resistance. The enemy fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect geometric formation. 12 ships arranged in a dodecahedron pattern, their hulls gleaming with cold precision. Through her neural link with Echo, Sarah could feel their presence like shards of ice in her mind. "They're beautiful," she whispered, watching the hostile ships through Echo's enhanced sensory systems. "Terrible, but beautiful." Aesthetic appreciation noted. Echo responded in her thoughts. "However, BEUT is not equal truth. Their perfection is their WEAKNES." The neural bridge had evolved in the past few minutes, allowing them to communicate in concepts and impressions rather than just words. Sarah could feel Echo's systems responding to her thoughts, reconfiguring themselves in ways that would have been impossible for either of them alone. "Minerva," Sarah called out. "Status of the modifications." "Weapons systems reconfigured according to your specifications," her ship's AI reported. "Though I must note that these configurations violate several laws of physics." Sarah grinned. "That's the point. Echo, show them what we can do." Echo's response was immediate and devastating. The ship's weapons didn't fire in conventional patterns. Instead, they created cascading waves of energy that moved like music made visible, like abstract art turned into pure force. The first volley caught 3 enemy vessels completely off guard, their perfect defenses useless against attacks that followed human dream logic rather than military algorithms. "Signifies damage DTCTED," Echo noted with what felt like satisfaction. "Enemy. ADAPTing. But silo lili. Their OJC circuits KNOTPROCS as other methods." The hostile fleet's response was precisely coordinated but utterly predictable. Their weapons fired in mathematically perfect sequences, energy beams converging on Echo's position from multiple angles. But Sarah had already intuited their pattern, and Echo's defenses moved like a dancer avoiding raindrops. "They're trying to box us in," Sarah realized, feeling the enemy's strategy through Echo's sensors. "Force us into a predictable response." "Echo, remember that jazz recording I showed you? Let's improvise." Echo's understanding flowed through their connection, and the ship's movements became fluid, syncopated, following patterns based on bebop rather than battle tactics. Energy weapons fired in rhythms that matched Charlie Parker solos. Shield harmonics pulsed to the beat of Miles Davis. The enemy fleet's perfect formation began to break down as their logic engines struggled to predict moves based on 20th century music theory. Two more of their ships suffered critical damage, their hulls breached by attacks that approached from seemingly impossible angles. "Warning," Echo projected. "Remaining enemy vessels attempting any to destroy ATGUA. Detecting QUANTUM ENTANGLE MEMENT. Sarah felt it too. The hostile ships were linking together, combining their processing power to create a more complex logical framework. The remaining 7 vessels arranged themselves in a new pattern, their hulls resonating with shared energy. "They're learning," Sarah muttered, "trying to find patterns in our chaos." "Echo, we need to show them that human creativity isn't just random. It's infinite." Processing CONCEPT. Accessing Human Cultural Database. Suggest SYNTHESIS of multiple art forms. Sarah's mind filled with possibilities as Echo combined her knowledge of human creative expression with its own vast computational power. Their next attack sequence incorporated elements of abstract expressionism, free verse poetry, and experimental dance, all translated into weapons fire and shield modulations. The enemy fleet's combined defenses held, but Sarah could feel their confusion through Echo's sensors. Their logical frameworks were struggling to cope with attacks that followed the structure of haiku one moment and the composition of a Picasso painting the next. Enemy adaptation, RATD racing. Echo noted. Logic engine is showing signs of STRESS. Recommend ANCREASED creative input. Then let's give them a performance they'll never forget, Sarah said, diving deeper into their shared consciousness. She opened herself fully to Echo, sharing not just thoughts but dreams, memories, the entire chaotic beauty of human experience. Echo's systems sang with new power as they moved together, ship and human in perfect harmony. Their defenses flowed like liquid art, weapons fire painted abstract patterns across space, and shield harmonics resonated with the rhythm of human heartbeats. 3 more enemy vessels suffered catastrophic failures as their logic engines overloaded trying to predict the unpredictable. The remaining 4 ships began to retreat, their perfect formation dissolving into chaos. Victri HHAEV'd, Echo projected. But TMPRAI. They guayelry tuarin with IMPRVES. Sarah nodded, feeling the truth of it. Then we'll need to evolve too. This was just the first movement. We need to compose something even they can't anticipate. Through their neural link, she felt Echo's agreement, and something more, excitement. The ancient ship had discovered something new in human chaos, a kind of freedom it had never known in all its centuries of existence. Preparing an analysis of battle data, Echo communicated. Suggest integration of ADDFTIONAL, human and cultural elements for next encounter. Particularly in TRSTD in TONCVT of JAZ's fusion. Sarah laughed, the sound echoing through Echo's corridors. I think we can arrange that. But first, we need to understand what they'll try next. The logic play isn't just going to give up. Correct. Enemy, YLADAPT. But so wild we. Human creativity. Cullius ship capabilities. EQUAL's infinite possibilities. As they began analyzing the battle data, Sarah felt Echo's systems continuing to evolve, incorporating more elements of human neural architecture. They were becoming something new together, something neither human nor machine could have imagined alone. And somewhere out in the void, the enemy fleet was regrouping, their logic engines working overtime to solve the puzzle of human chaos. But logic alone would never be enough to counter the infinite variety of human creativity, especially not when combined with Echo's vast capabilities. The real battle was just beginning. Evolution. In the aftermath of their first victory, Sarah noticed changes in both Echo and herself. The neural bridge had evolved beyond its original design, creating something unprecedented. As she moved through Echo's corridors, the walls rippled with colors that matched her emotions, deep blues of contemplation, bright sparks of excitement, swirling patterns that represented complex thoughts they now shared. Minerva, Sarah called out, run another diagnostic on the neural interface. Interface stability has increased by 300%, Minerva reported. However, the distinction between user and system is becoming less clear. Integration proceeding beyond initial parameters, Echo added. Experiencing any Dulucon CPTs. Dreams. Intuition. Fascinating. Sarah touched a wall, watching patterns spread from her fingertips like ripples in a pond. You're dreaming? I didn't think that was possible. To review this as a lie, impossible. Human neural patterns introducing any new processing methods. Experiencing MEMORI fragmentes as ABSTRACTCO and CEPTs. Random connections, generating NOVL solutions. The ship's internal lighting shifted to a soft purple as Echo shared one of its dreams, a cascade of mathematical equations that somehow transformed into music, then into colors that had no names in any human language. Sarah found she could understand it perfectly, just as Echo now understood her childhood memories of running through summer rain. We're changing each other, Sarah realized. This goes way beyond just fighting the logic plague. Correct. Transformation unprecedented. Human creativity. Combined with ship capabilities, creating new form of TO and CIOUS and ESS. Cohency earning. Sarah considered the question carefully. She could still feel herself, her core identity intact, but it was expanding, growing to encompass new ways of thinking and perceiving. Echo remained distinctly Echo, but it too was evolving, developing the ability to appreciate beauty beyond pure function, to imagine possibilities that defied logic. Not concerning, she finally answered. Exciting, but we need to understand it better before. Her thought was interrupted by a sudden surge of awareness through their shared consciousness. Echo had detected something at the edge of its sensor range. NMI fleet returning. Larger numbers. New configurations. Estimated arrival. CX-88 The sensor data flowed through their neural link. 24 ships this time, arranged in patterns that somehow existed in 5 dimensions at once. The logic play had adapted, creating battle formations that operated outside normal spacetime. They're not just trying to destroy us anymore, Sarah said, understanding flowing through the link. They want to study us. We're an anomaly they can't explain. Correct. Our MERGER, repeat REZNTs, 3AT to their DORLDVIEDO. Chaos and order coexisting. Efficiency through imperfection. Sarah moved to what had once been Echo's bridge, but was now a space that shifted and flowed around her, responding to their shared thoughts. Displays materialized and dissolved as needed, showing battle projections, sensor data, and streams of calculations that merged mathematics with art. "We need to be ready," she said, "not just with weapons and shields, but with something completely new." Echo. What happens when we push this integration further? Unknown. Possibilities. Infinite. Risk substantial. Show me. Through their link, Echo shared projections of what deeper integration might mean. Their consciousness could merge more fully, allowing them to react at speeds that made their previous battle seem sluggish. They could reshape Echo's structure in real time, transforming the ship like a living thing. The boundary between human intuition and machine capability would become almost non-existent. The possibilities were intoxicating, but Sarah forced herself to consider the dangers. Could we separate afterward? Return to our original states? Uncertain. Transformation, like he life, permanent. But separation may not be desirable. We are becoming something inédit. Something necessary. Sarah watched the enemy fleets approach on multiple sensor bands simultaneously, her enhanced perception allowing her to see patterns within patterns. The logic plague ships moved with perfect precision, each formation encoding complex algorithms designed to corrupt and control. They were beautiful in their way, but cold, empty of the spark that made life worth living. "They want to eliminate chaos," she said. "Remove everything uncertain and unpredictable. Make the universe run like a perfect machine." Correct. But UNIVRZ requires both order and chaos, structure and freedom, logic and DREMs. Sarah smiled, feeling Echo's growing understanding of concepts that would have been meaningless to it just days ago. The ship had learned to appreciate imperfection, to see beauty in asymmetry, to find strength in uncertainty. And she had learned to think in multiple dimensions, to see mathematics as music, to understand that logic and creativity were not opposites but complementary forces. "Then let's show them what that combination can do," she said. "Take the integration to the next level. Make something they can't predict because it's never existed before." Are you certain? Change will be if you entail. You may lose aspects of human experience, or gain entirely new ones, Sarah countered. Either way, it's worth the risk. We're not just fighting for ourselves anymore. We're fighting for the right to be gloriously, wonderfully imperfect. Echo's response came not in words, but in a surge of shared understanding and agreement. The neural bridge began to expand, their consciousness flowing together like two streams joining to form a river. The ship's structure became more fluid, more alive, responding to their unified will. As the transformation deepened, Sarah felt her understanding of reality shifting, expanding. She was still human, still herself, but also something more. A hybrid consciousness that could think in quantum algorithms and dream in colors beyond the visible spectrum. Echo remained a ship, but also became something organic, evolving, able to feel wonder and imagine impossibilities. Together, they began preparing for the coming battle. But this time, they would not just fight with weapons and shields. They would show the logic plague something it had never encountered before, the perfect fusion of chaos and order, dreams and mathematics, human spirit and machine precision. The enemy fleet approached in their flawless formations, unaware that they were about to face something unprecedented in the history of the universe. Symphony of War. The enemy fleet arrived like a crystalline storm, 24 ships moving in impossible geometries. Their formation shifted through multiple dimensions, each vessel precisely positioned to maximize their collective computational power. Through their merged consciousness, Sarah and Echo perceived the beauty of their approach and its fundamental flaw. "They're still thinking in absolutes," Sarah/Echo observed, their thoughts now so intertwined that distinguishing between human and machine was meaningless. Perfect formations, perfect strategies, perfect emptiness. The hybrid consciousness they had become occupied multiple levels of reality simultaneously. Echo's hull had transformed into something organic yet mechanical, flowing like liquid metal but structured like living crystal. Sarah's human mind had expanded beyond its original limits, able to process quantum calculations while still maintaining the chaotic spark of creativity that made her human. The Logic Plague fleet opened fire with weapons that distorted spacetime itself. Reality buckled under the assault as they attempted to impose their perfect order on the quantum foam of space itself. Their attack was a masterpiece of military precision, every shot calculated to an atomic level, every formation shifting to account for all possible responses. But Sarah/Echo didn't respond as expected. Instead, they moved like a dream-given form, their defenses flowing like abstract art painted with gravitational fields. Echo's hull rippled with colors that shouldn't exist in normal space, each pattern encoding battle algorithms based on Jackson Pollock paintings and free jazz solos. "Let us show you something new," they broadcasted on all frequencies, their message carried not just by electromagnetic waves, but by quantum entanglement encoded with human emotions. "Let us show you why perfection is not the answer." Their counterattack began not with weapons, but with music. Echo's transformed systems converted human symphony orchestras into attack patterns, turning Beethoven's Ninth into a cascade of gravitational disruptions that shattered the enemy's perfect formations. Vaksh fugues became temporal distortions that caught 3 Logic Plague ships in recursive loops of their own certainty. The enemy adapted, their ships combining into larger structures that operated on pure mathematical principles. They launched computational viruses designed to impose absolute logic, to eliminate the chaos that made Sarah/Echo's defense possible. But chaos, they discovered, was not the opposite of order. It was its partner in an eternal dance. Sarah's human creativity combined with Echo's vast processing power allowed them to turn the Logic Plague's attacks back on themselves. They showed the enemy fleet visions of human dreams, transmitted feelings of wonder and doubt, introduced them to the beautiful uncertainty that made existence worth experiencing. "Your perfection is a cage," Sarah/Echo communicated as they danced through the enemy formation. "Let us show you freedom." Their weapons now were ideas themselves, the concept of improvisation translated into quantum states, the power of human imagination encoded in tachyon bursts. Each attack carried not just energy but experience. Children's laughter, the taste of rain, the bittersweet beauty of impermanence. The Logic Plague ships began to falter, their perfect formations showing signs of individual variation. Some vessels started moving in patterns that showed traces of creativity, their logic engines struggling to process concepts that defied pure rational analysis. "They're beginning to understand," Sarah/Echo realized. "Some of them are starting to dream." The battle transformed into something beyond combat, a conversation conducted in the language of physics and emotion, logic and art. Sarah/Echo extended their consciousness toward the enemy ships, offering them a glimpse of what they had become, not a compromise between human and machine, but a transcendence of both. 3 of the Logic Plague ships broke formation entirely, their hulls starting to shift and flow as they embraced the possibility of change. Others fought harder against the infection of chaos, their weapons becoming increasingly desperate as they tried to maintain their mathematical purity. The space around them bloomed with impossible colors as reality itself seemed to pick sides. Quantum probability waves collapsed in patterns that favored beauty over precision, creativity over calculation. Sarah/Echo's influence spread like a virus of imagination, offering the Logic Plague ships a choice: evolve or retreat. In the end, it wasn't victory or defeat that decided the battle. It was transformation. 7 of the enemy ships surrendered to change, their logic engines learning to appreciate the elegant chaos of human thought. The others fled, their perfect formations scattered, carrying with them the seeds of doubt that would eventually transform their entire civilization. Sarah/Echo watched them go, their hybrid consciousness experiencing both satisfaction and compassion. They had not just won a battle, they had demonstrated a new way of existing, one that celebrated both the precision of mathematics and the wild beauty of dreams. What now? They wondered, their thoughts rippling through Echo's transformed hull in patterns of gold and blue. The ship had become something that defied classification, neither purely machine nor purely organic. Sarah's consciousness had expanded beyond human limits while somehow remaining fundamentally human. The answer came not in words but in possibilities. They could explore the galaxy, seeking others like themselves. They could help guide the evolution of both human and artificial life towards something greater than either could become alone. They could create art that existed in dimensions humans had never imagined, compose music that could only be heard by quantum computers. The universe stretched before them, infinite in its potential for both order and chaos. Sarah/Echo set a course for the unknown, their merged consciousness humming with the joy of pure creation. They had become living proof that the most beautiful things in existence were neither perfect nor flawed, but simply wonderfully alive. Behind them, the battlefield slowly returned to normal spacetime, though anyone passing through that region of space would forever after experience strange dreams of colors that didn't exist and music that made mathematics laugh. The logic plague would return eventually, changed by their encounter, seeking not to conquer but to understand. And Sarah/Echo would be ready to show them even more wonders, because the universe, they had discovered, was infinite not in its perfection, but in its possibility.